Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for your support and thank you for your views and comments. In the previous videos, we were dealing with logarithms, but from now on, we are now dealing with bearing. Okay, so let's dive into it. First of all, I started with the definition. A bearing is a way to describe a direction or angle, typically used in navigation and surveying. Okay, it's just a way to describe a direction or an angle. Okay, primarily there are about two types of bearings. Three-figure bearings, also called true bearings. Okay, three-figure bearings or true bearings. And secondly, we've got compass bearings. Okay, so first we shall start to deal with three-figure bearings. Here there are about so there are under three-figure bearings. We've got three important rules to bear in mind. Okay, the number one rule: the angle is always measured starting from north. In three-figure bearings, the angle is always measured starting from north. So it's very, very important to remember this point when you are dealing with three-figure bearings. Okay? The second one also is indispensable or important as well. Second rule, which says the angle is always measured clockwise from north. Okay, the angle is always measured clockwise from north. It's also important to bear in mind that we measure clockwise from north. All right, let's go to the third one, which is also very important as the previous two. The third rule here says three-figure bearings are always written using 3 digits. Three-figure bearings are always written using 3 digits. Maybe for you to remember this, you must know that any angle which you measure and is less than 100 degrees, any angle measured and which is less than 100 degrees is prefixed with a 0. You write a 0. For instance, let's say we measure and got 95 degrees. You write it as 0, 95 degrees. For instance, let's say we measured and got maybe 87.5 degrees. Okay, you prefix with a 0 and write it as 87.5 degrees. Okay, let's move on to the next sheet. Here we've got a question here, which two questions rather. The first one says find the three-figure bearing of Q from P. The second one, find the three-figure bearing of P from Q. So to help us in answering these questions, I've put a diagram here. These are the north arrows. You can see they are parallel. Okay. So the first question says find the three-figure bearing of Q from P. So our reference point here is P, but it says from P. P is our reference point. In other words, we measure our angle at P. So the bearing of Q from P, P is our reference point. We draw a north arrow like this, or north line at P, because that's our reference point. It says from P here. So the bearing of Q from P is the angle measuring, remember, clockwise. Clockwise, this one, this direction. This one is counterclockwise. Okay, going this way is counterclockwise. We want to measure clockwise. So the bearing of Q from P is the angle between this north arrow and this line which goes to Q from P. So the angle between this north line and this line which goes to Q from P is 76 degrees. Okay, so let's go to our solution for number 1. It's the 3-figure bearing of Q from P is 76 degrees. Remember, we are dealing with 3-figure bearings, so we have to write our answers using 3 digits. So here the angle here, when you measure using a protractor, you will find it is 76 degrees. But when you write our answer in terms of 3-figure bearing, we prefix with a 0, use a 0 and then 76 degrees, so that we have got 3 digits. As I said earlier, that if you measure an angle and find it less than 100 degrees, you must prefix with a 0 or put a 0 before writing the numbers. Okay. Second question says find the 3-figure bearing of P from Q. So our reference point here is Q. So we draw a north line at Q, and as well we don't go to the left. This is a shorter distance, which you can see according to the rules of 3-figure bearing. We have to measure from north clockwise till we touch the line which goes to P. So the bearing of P from Q, we measure at P, starting from the north arrow at Q, and measure clockwise till we touch the line which goes to P. So in this case, it's 256 degrees. But most protractors, they are marked up to 180 degrees. Okay, so you won't be able to measure this 256 degrees directly using a protractor. So what you have to do, you measure this smaller angle here between this north line and this line which goes to P. You measure this smaller angle. Okay, remember here, right round here is 1 revolution, is 360 degrees. Okay, so if you get the angle here, you say 360 minus this angle and you get your 256. Okay, so if you measure with the protractor, this angle here is 104 degrees. 104 degrees. That's our angle here using a protractor. It's 104 degrees. Okay, 104 degrees. That's the angle here. Okay, 104 degrees. So remember, right here is 360 degrees with 1 revolution. So you say 360 degrees minus 104, and you get your 256, which is the answer, the 3-figure bearing of P from Q. Okay. There are some important notes which I have written down here. East is 090 degrees under 3-figure bearing. South is 180 degrees. West is 270 degrees. North is 000 degrees. Also note 3 digits are always used. For example, we write 065 degrees instead of 65 degrees. Okay, let me pull this so that you can see. Okay, 3 digits are always used. For example, we write 065 degrees instead of 65 degrees. Okay, thank you for watching. Meet you in the next videos.